Have you ever thought about creating your own writing retreat? Well, in this video, I'm going to break down 6 steps into how you can create your own writing retreat and really set some time away to work on writing your book. I'm Charlotte Chipperfield. I'm your book coach and developmental editor, and I help primarily women writers write, edit, and publish books that create impact and inspire in the world. And writing retreats is something that appeals to so many authors. The idea of disappearing into the world and being able to just focus on your writing can be such a powerful exercise. I know this is not always accessible to all of us, and that is why a lot of the time I talk about how you can get so much writing done just in like 10 or 15 increments per day. And there's also something amazing if you can carve out some time to create a writing retreat. So in this video, I'm going to talk about how you can DIY your own writing retreat, and you don't have to spend thousands upon thousands of dollars to travel and go meet with other writers. You can also invite people that are local to you if you know any other writers. This can also be a great thing that you can put on it together. So the benefit of really having a writing retreat is, if you're working on your first draft, or maybe you're diving into revisions, or maybe you're just in that outlining and trying to get your idea down onto the page, it can be really helpful just to give yourself a little bit of that downtime to almost hit that reset button, really focus on what it is that you need, or maybe just becoming aware of what it is that you need within your writing, so that you can really create the space and a plan in order to continue to write your book and get it published. So the first step with creating your own writing retreat is to set your intention. So before you pick a location or start packing or putting the note cards, the pens, the paper together, get really clear on why you're setting this time aside. So are you looking to generate new material? Are you looking to solve a plot hole? Are you looking to outline? Are you really just trying to reconnect to the joy of writing? Maybe it's all of the above, which might be a lot for just one retreat, but think about what is the primary intention or your why for wanting this time. So setting this clear intention will really help you shape through the structure and the flow of your retreat so that you don't feel like, oh my gosh, I'm going away for 2 days or a day and I want to write my entire book. That is not going to be very realistic. So we want to focus on what are the things that you're going to walk away from that time and be like, okay, I feel like that time was really well spent. I feel like I'm moving forward. No, I don't have a completed manuscript. That's an unrealistic expectation to put on ourselves. So really think about where can you establish your intention and your why so that you are focused, and especially when distractions arise. So here's a couple of questions you can ask yourself when you're thinking about what your intentions are. So the first one is, what project or phase of writing am I focusing on? So again, this might be you're in the ideation stage, you might be in the outlining, you could be in the writing, the first draft, you could be in revisions, or maybe you're in your 10th revision. What is the phase of writing that you're really focusing on? The second question to ask yourself is, how do you want to feel during this time that you set aside for the retreat? So this might be that you just want to feel like expansive, that you have space to flow when the words come up. Maybe you just want to feel focused. Maybe you just want to feel in the flow of the words. Maybe you want to feel like, yes, I've gotten 10 pages written. What is it going to feel like during that time of the retreat? And the third question to ask yourself is, what would make this time feel successful or nurturing? So what would make this time feel successful or nourishing? So this might actually not mean putting words on the page. Maybe it's about, how can I get 8 or 9 hours of sleep? How can I have a really slow morning where maybe I just drink coffee and I read a book and I do some yoga or I go for a walk on the beach? Wherever you are going, maybe there's incorporating that space around so that you get to be out in the world, but also get to relax, but also know that you're going to have time to focus on your writing. So what is going to make it feel like that time is really successful? Okay, so the second step in planning your retreat is choosing your location. And this is really important because you want to make sure that you are in a location that is going to allow you to focus and feel calm, but not also be so distracting. So we're not booking trips to Disneyland and then sitting in the middle of a theme park trying to write our books and do a writing retreat. So really think about, where are the places that you feel most energized? What brings you energy, but also allows you to be calm and focused? So I know for me, like going near the ocean, being by the beach, like that is just, that is what centers me. It is what brings me home to myself. And yes, I can get a little distracted with beach walks and just wanting to be out in nature. And that's why if I do a writing retreat at the beach, this is why I allow time for both things. So I know some people feel the way I do about the ocean, about being in the mountains. So there's different places that you can go that are feeling really nurturing for you. And this is also not to say that you need to be traveling far or that you need to be booking expensive places. This could literally be, I can focus in the library, or I can focus at this coffee shop I found that's on the other side of town that I never have enough time to go to. So this is not about making this a grand, crazy thing. I also know there's some hotel lobbies that are really fun to ride in too, even though I'm not staying there, but they are in my local town. So again, this isn't about spending a lot of money or having to travel really far. It's about what are those spaces that do nurture you and support you, but you don't have to go too far or extend your budget. So some options to consider are maybe like a weekend at an Airbnb or maybe like a friend's cabin. You might also consider house sitting for someone. I know this can also be really helpful, like house sitting just in someone else's environment that's not your own can also just be really supportive. I mentioned the hotels. You can leverage hotel lobbies, or maybe you do book a local hotel with the city view. You can also head out and camp. Like that might be a little bit harder with internet, but thinking about, could you get out there, and maybe part of the unplugging is actually going to help reinvigorate your creative process. And let's not forget that our own homes can be a sense of retreat. I know it can be really hard if we have like pets and families and partners, but there might be an opportunity, I don't know, if the kids are away at summer camp and someone else is traveling for work, and maybe it is about how do you create your home and sanctuary to allow yourself some cozy time to spend writing. And so maybe it's just about creating a little office space in the dining room and having snacks and a fresh notebook and just being able to really focus in that where you're not doing laundry, you're not cleaning, and giving yourself that permission. So there's lots of different ways that you can kind of DIY this to make it work for you. And I think the question is just really honing in on like what is going to best support you and fit your budget and not feel like you're overextending yourself or trying to make something work for the sake of it. So again, really hone in on what is your intention and what is going to help best nurture that intention. Okay, so step 3 in planning your retreat is to design your daily rhythm. So if your retreat is maybe just 1 day or 2 days, or maybe it's a couple hours, it's really about deciding like what structure is going to feel most supportive to you. So some writers need like every minute planned out. They need fully immersed like blocks where they can focus time. There needs to be activities in between. Think about how can you create a balance between writing, movement, and rest. I think those are the 3 that are going to be most supportive. Because again, if we're like, I'm going to write from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., I think most of us know that's really unrealistic and really hard to do. So think about how can you combine writing, movement, and rest. So a sample day might look like, let's say at 8 a.m., maybe you get up, you're making coffee, and maybe you're just like doing some journaling, or maybe you go for a walk or do some yoga. Like there's that kind of integration hour in the beginning of the day. And then maybe from 9 to noon, that's some deep writing session, or maybe that's your brainstorming session. Whatever feels right for you there. And then there's a lunch break from 12 to 1. So maybe this is taking and making yourself a really nice lunch and then maybe going for a walk. And then from 1 to 3, maybe you are doing research for your book, or maybe you're focusing on revisions or reshaping what you wrote in the morning. Then from 3 to 4 in the afternoon, maybe it's time to take a reading break or feel inspired. So maybe it's tapping into like what is most motivating in your own creativity. And then maybe 4 to 5:30 is like another session where you're going to do some deep writing. And then maybe 5:30 to 6 is planning what it is that you want to do the next day in your retreat. And of course, if you're only doing a 1-day retreat, maybe that last half an hour is just reflecting on what worked really well, what didn't work well, and what you ultimately achieved. Like, did you achieve your intention? Did it feel supportive in the process? So remember that creativity in a box can be helpful. So I know I'm not always a big structure, like hour by hour person, but sometimes creativity does need that container to allow us to know, hey, we're going to have this time to go deep on our writing. And like, hey, we're going to have this time to be inspired or creative. We are going to have this time to move our bodies. So sometimes just having it written down, it can really be helpful just to give yourself a little bit of structure. But creativity really thrives when it's not only nurtured, but also has a container to be in. So step 4 is packing your bags. Exciting part, right? So it doesn't matter if you're heading across town, staying locally, or even in your home. You can still pack a bag to kind of symbolize what you are doing to make sure that you have all the essentials you need to feel inspired and supported within your space. So this is obviously going to be your laptop or notebooks, wherever you like to write. Maybe you bring favorite pens or buy some new pens and Post-its, highlighters. You might bring a printed outline, or maybe you print your manuscript that you have so far, or maybe even prompts, writing prompts to help you fuel some of that creative writing. Printing out your manuscript or outlines can be really helpful so that you're spending less time on your computer. I know computers inherently can be very distracting because it's easy to open the program you're writing in, but then it's like, oh, let me just check my email or let me check social. So we want to be able to put a little bit of our blinders on there. And so printing materials could be a very helpful way of helping you stay a little bit more focused. You might also think about what comfort items you want to bring. So maybe there's a blanket or candles or tea, something that's going to help nurture you. Maybe there are things that you normally use, or make a cup of tea before you start writing anyway. So that can be another great way to signal to your mind, hey, we're going into writing mode. You might also bring books that inspire you. So not only books that you've read that inspire you, but maybe you also have some craft books available. Whatever might be supporting you just to stay inspired and connected to writing will be really helpful. And then of course the snacks. We want to make sure we have lots of snacks. We've got our meals planned out. I know that's a big thing for me, is when I know what my meals are, it feels like the day can be so much less stressful. And it's meal prep, you just don't have to think about it. Or maybe you're going to order from your favorite takeout place, because that's going to support you in not having to sit there and cook or spend that time doing that. So whatever's going to nurture you the most and getting your nourishment will be really great to have that planned out ahead of time, so you just don't have to think about it on the day. So step 5 in your retreat is to protect your time. This is your time. This is your writing retreat, and nothing's interrupting it. So once you know when you're going to be hosting your retreat, it's really important that you honor it and you make sure you've told everyone that needs to know that you are not available. So this is easier said than done. It can be really easy to put other priorities first. But once you've decided to do this, we really want to make sure that you are honoring that time and protecting that space for your writing. So if you need to set an autoresponder on your email, if you need to let all your loved ones know that you're not available, if you need to put everything on do not disturb and turn off all of your notifications, this is okay. You can also delete social media apps. So we really want to treat this retreat like it is a commitment, and you are not breaking this, because this is a commitment with your creative self, and that is incredibly important. Okay, so the 6th step in your writing retreat is to really take some time to reflect and integrate at the end of your retreat, or even post-retreat. So take a few minutes just at the end of your retreat, however long that is, to really ask yourself, what did you create? Did you connect with your why? How did you feel during this experience? And what do you want to carry forward? So here's a couple of things that you can ask yourself or journal on at the end of the retreat. But one is, what surprised you the most about this experience? So what really was the most insightful thing that came through? You can also ask yourself, what did I learn about my writing process? Then you can also reflect on what's one way that you can carry the retreat mindset into your daily life. Another question to ask yourself is a little bit more practical, but outline what are your next steps on your writing. Because it's one thing when we have this larger time to focus on our writing, it can be very easy then to be a couple days going back, you're integrating back into normal life, and it's oh, what was I going to do again? I don't remember. So creating just here's my next step, or here's my next 3 steps, can be super helpful to keep you focused and keep you motivated, so it doesn't feel like you need to create a whole nother retreat to orient yourself into where to go next in your writing journey. So a retreat, no matter how short or long you are planning, is a beautiful way to not only honor your writing, but really invest in your creativity and your book. So you don't need permission. This is your permission slip, right? You just need to be very clear on your intention, what that space looks like, and a willingness to show up for yourself in your writing. So I'd love to hear, are you planning a retreat? Let me know below in the comments. If you have done a retreat for yourself, I'd love to hear if there's any other tips you'd like to share with our community. And be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you in the next video.